Donald Trump appears at a black church. Now, that might not seem like a story in and of itself, but your president, I'm gonna say y'all president, because some of y'all Negroes voting for him. Y'all president Donald Trump, or former president Donald Trump, appeared in a church. It's called 180 Church. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with this church, but it's called 180 Church, the black church in Detroit. And 180 Church it's in the hood. And like it's for real in the hood. Like it's not a fake black church. Something like you'll be in Grosse Pointe and they'll act like it's in Detroit. No, this is as I understand it, this is a black church. But when you looked in the church, when I looked in the church, when I went to see who was in that church, wasn't a whole lot of black people there. So I was trying to make sense of this. Donald Trump is on tour. Donald Trump, let me step back and establish that Donald Trump is on tour right now. He is doing what presidents do. They run for office and they go barnstorming around this time. They go to different neighborhoods, different communities. They do lots of stuff to try to encourage voters to vote for them. They try to look like they are down. And so I was on Twitter. In fact, let me show you this. I was on Twitter and I saw somebody post this. It says, Black church in Detroit erupts in cheers for Trump as he arrives for the round table with various community leaders. So Trump is showing up to a round table with community leaders. Showing up to a round table with community leaders in Detroit sounds amazing because too often politicians show up and they just talk to audiences. They just show up and give their stump speech. They just show up and lie. But to actually engage the community, to be challenged by community, to have a space to engage community, that sounds good. And what better place to do it than a church, which is supposed to be the hub of our community? That's what they tell us, right? That makes sense to me. So cool. Donald Trump's coming to this church. So when I heard them say, Donald Trump is showing up. You hear that? Trump. So now I'm even more curious. I'm like, wait a minute. There's a church in Detroit that brings Donald Trump, and people are erupting, screaming, Trump, Trump, Trump. I don't know a church in America, a black church in America, that would be screaming Trump, 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 Trump. I just don't know one. So, not to say that there aren't black people in the church who will vote for Trump, but let's look at this again. Well, I hear this, and I get confused. The first thought I had was, where the black people? To quote the great Trick Daddy, I don't see none in that church. To be a black church, shouldn't there be some black people in it? Y'all just saw the video. I saw about 4 black people, and the rest was white people with MAGA hats on. That is not a black church. Can white people attend a black church? Absolutely. Can black people attend a white church? Absolutely. I've preached at St. Sabina 3-4 times. Pastor Flager, Father Flager is a white pastor. Black church. There's white people in it. It's a black church. What makes a black church? It's majority black demographically. It's culturally black. It's homiletically black. That means they preach like Negroes. I don't know what happens in that church most days, but on that day, there wasn't no Negroes in that church. It's a setup. But they'll have you believing that a black church is just cheering for Trump. Why do they want you to believe that? Because they want to create a narrative that black people are grossly or disproportionately supporting Donald Trump for president. And it's not true. And even when they come up with these numbers, these statistics, these trends that suggest that black people are, and particularly black men, are voting for Trump at a higher rate, it's true. It's true. I hate you, Maurice. I know what you're doing. Um, um, the number goes from like 8% to like 10% or like 9% to like 11%, right? It Black people don't support Donald Trump. It's just we just don't, right? But because there's this idea that we have to have an unquestioned, unchallenged loyalty to the Democratic Party, that if that number goes from 8% to 9%, which is still more loyalty than any other racial group into any other party in America, it seems like it's a crisis, right? So this becomes, but this is how we frame it. And so then they add that, they amplify or fortify that framing by then saying, well, look, in Detroit, it's up for Trump. They're just going crazy for Trump in this Black church. And it's not true. But the lie doesn't just get told through Republican media. And Republican media has been going crazy all week with the lies. They've been trying to show Joe Biden looking like he's wandering off when he's really actually watching a parachute landing. You know, they do things to make it seem as if things are different than they are. But they're not just lying this time. They're paying for people to lie. Look at this Negro right here. The pastor of 180 Church is Lorenzo Suel. Look at him. Again, just skinning and grinning. These Negroes be so happy to be around white people. They be so happy to be close to power. Man, you're not supposed to be standing next to Pharaoh cheesing for pictures. You're supposed to be challenging Pharaoh, pastor. You're supposed to be challenging the status quo. You're supposed to be pushing back against power. You're not supposed to be standing here scratching when you don't itch and laughing when you're not tickled. But this Negro's doing exactly that. He shows up and he says, I just want to thank Mr. Trump. I'm humbled by the former president's visit. He said, President Obama never came to the hood, so to speak, right? President Joe Biden, he went to the big NAACP dinner, but he never came to the hood, so thank you. Okay, knock it off. First of all, it's just not true. And I have no commitment to the Democratic Party. I have no commitment to Joe Biden. I have no commitment to President Obama at that level, right? But facts are facts. Barack Obama was a community organizer. He was in the hood. Barack Obama campaigned in the hood. I've seen him. Joe Biden campaigned in the hood. And I don't romanticize campaigning in the hood. I think campaigning in the hood is usually pandering. It's usually lying. It's usually making people feel like you owe them something or they owe you something, right? So I'm not saying I'm not out here like bragging on Obama or Biden for this, but the fact of the matter is, everybody shows up to the hood. Maybe they didn't show up to your church. They didn't show up to 180 Church. By the way, 180 is a great name for a church. 180 Church is a great name for a church. I ain't gonna hold you. I hate what this guy stands for. I hate what he's doing with Trump. But 180 Church is a fly ass name for a church. That's it. He is now bought and paid for, and you're going to see more of this, right? Lorenzo Suel is going to be the type of person who you see for the next 6 or 5 months. He goes on Fox and Friends and says that he couldn't remember the last time a president laid out a plan for the Black community until Trump created a plan. More lies. One, Trump's plan is bullshit. Two, Biden, Obama, they've all laid out similar plans. Again, I'm not defending Biden and Obama. Their plans sucked. But Biden, Obama, Trump, Clinton, Bush, they all they all do the same thing. But there's this commitment or obsession with framing Trump as if he's a historically unprecedented leader, as if he has plans and ideas and legislation and bills that other people just don't. That's not true. But these Negroes are bought and paid for, and they will say anything to get elected.